You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in beautiful Northport, Florida. So I've been out and about with my granddaughters, and I got to give some kudos and some props out big time to our Parks and Rec division. We've now had about 4 or 5 different parks that we've been to. A 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, or almost a 2-year-old, should I say. And our parks, if you haven't been out to the parks, are phenomenal. I ended up talking to some people that were out and about, recommended the North Report app to them for recommendations across the board, not just at Parks and Rec, but also Public Works, and trying to get information out to them. And what I found out was very interesting is that there were probably 15 or 16 kids from Port Charlotte in our parks with their parents. And it was all because the parks in Northport are so much better. They're so much nicer, and that they have everything set up and ready to go with shading, some trees, much more so than Charlotte County. Although I did go by some Charlotte County parks and they look pretty nice, I got to tell you, at 91 degrees, those slides and those swings are dark plastic and they burn. So I just want to give some props out to our Parks and Recs division. They are fantastic. Billy, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourselves. And Frank, introduce yourselves and give a little background narrative. And I'm going to chase a 2-year-old out of my studio here real quick.
I will second John's comments on the local parks. Having a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, we're not as heavy on the parks now as we used to be for obvious reasons. They're getting a little old, but they have enjoyed growing up in Northport. They have enjoyed pretty much all the parks we have in town. As always, I'm Billy Carlson, the Public Works Community Outreach Coordinator. And this week I've brought with me our solid waste manager, Frank Lama. Frank?
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
So one thing we have coming up while we don't have John here is we've got our household hazardous waste event coming up in not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after, Saturday, August 6th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Change from the usual spring event. We are having it at the Public Works campus, which is the entrance we'll be using for that is the 1850 West Price Boulevard entrance.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how many times a year we do that?
Billy, I'll go ahead and answer this. Right now, it's just once, John. And we're looking to try to get the county to do twice. And we're still working on that. But it's once a year. Usually it happens in March. This year, we're going to go ahead because March, we had a little issue with the weather. And we had to shut it down a little early. So we went ahead and scheduled it for, I believe it was a couple of months ago. But then weather got involved again. So we have it for Saturday, August 6th. So we should be ready to go here.
Well, I can't wait because I have a full bed in my truck ready to get. No, I'm just teasing. Probably a quarter of my bed in my truck. I did go through and do some fall cleaning, so to speak, and realized that I actually had some paint and other products that I don't use. The stuff I use inside my house, of course, when you keep paint inside your house, then it's good to use. When you keep your paint in your garage, it's good for like bouncing marbles also. It doesn't work so well. So it's interesting to see everything and see how it all works. But
yeah,
the fact that you guys are offering that as a service to have a drop off is amazing. And we absolutely need to, as a community, need to take advantage of these things because of the fact that we're probably 6 months past the annual drop off date. People should tell their neighbors. I think we kind of need to encourage the use of the website and the Facebook page, but also take in mind that neighbors work. If you're listening to this, be a good neighbor. Let them know what's happening on the 6th of August, because that's a great way not to have it end up in our landfill. When people realize what's going on. Frank, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, John, you hit that right on the spot. We don't want it to go into the landfill. We want to make sure that people use that. Come see us in March, please. And if not, in Venice off of Jackson Road, they offer it all year round for our residents. To show your license, you can always go down there and turn in your environmentally hazard waste. Please do so. Do not put it in the garbage tote, please.
So, do we have any new updates on cost savings now, Frank, that have happened? I know we talk a lot about how the recycling really is a benefit to the citizens of Northport, not just the fact that we're recycling things and getting separation between landfill and recyclable goods,
Yep.
but we actually, as a city, bank some money that help reduce costs, which also help reduce tax dollars or
Right.
tax dollars being spent. Can you talk a little bit about that and give some highlights on some things that you guys have done?
Yeah, I mean, Billy, you want to go first? You want me to go?
Sure. I will say, having started last March with the city, when I first started, we were still paying to offload recycling material. We were still in the red there. And about 3 months in, we started to see a turn where we were actually getting a decent rebate check back. And we haven't looked back. I mean, for the last probably year, maybe a little over a year now, we've steadily been getting a rebate check back monthly. And I will say we had a meeting with our recycling facility that we bring it to, and they said, Northport brings the cleanest material that they get from Northport. So I think it's a testament, A, to our efforts, B, residents are doing a pretty good job. Aside from plastic bags, they're doing a pretty good job of providing cleaner material. And that's why we tend to lean heavy on the educational side of things, to let residents know, this should be in there, this shouldn't. If you have this, clean this, and things like that. And then it's a testament to our work down at the recycling center to kind of filter out the things that shouldn't go. And I think we can see in the numbers that, we're doing a pretty good job of that.
Frank, you have anything to add?
I do. So, I mean, we're dealing with growth and, of course, all the increases in costs. But, you have to thank our commissioners. I mean, because of their vision, we're in a good place compared to many other municipalities and counties. Many have canceled their recycling efforts. So in the last 2 months, we've collected 150 tons more recycling than the year before. Okay. We're looking at 7.35% over last year. And garbage was only 1.57%. So our rebate check that we're looking to get back this year is $450,000. That's where we're estimating at. $450,000. And you have municipalities and counties canceling recycling. So it's pretty crazy. But on the other hand, the landfill coming up in 23, they're going up, their rate's going up. They're going to charge us $3.14 a ton more. And then in 24, they're going up another $3.38 a ton. So in 2 more years, the landfill is going to go up $6.52. And remember, John, we just take it to a hole and it gets buried. That's it. We're only paying for space there. So it's going to estimate our cost for that. And in another 2 years, about $500,000 more to dump at the landfill. So it's pretty incredible. So we always want to recycle. And the one thing about recycling is right now we pay $48.34 a ton. Our processor pays us $56.09 a ton. So that's a big swing.
So here again, if we could encourage neighbors to talk to each other about the positivity of the rebate.
Yep.
I think maybe we need to simplify that in the sense that, do you want to pay less taxes? Because if you take our recycling department and cancel it. How much money do we have to come up to pay the bill?
Yeah.
That's almost $500,000.
Yep.
So our recycling program, and I know I'm going to tell this as a joke because I want you to correct it. So we're functioning at everyone in Northport at 100% recycling, correct?
Correct.
And they're all participating at 100%, correct?
Let's hope so.
Okay. So are there any situations where you think we can gain more weight if people actually participated at a higher level?
Oh, John, of course. Of course. We do a thing called a street at a time, where myself or the supervisors go through each recycling tote and make sure the proper material's in there. And we leave them usually, if they do a great job, we'll tell them, hey, great job. If not, we kind of educate them, telling them what's wrong in there. But on the opposite end, we do go across the street. We do check the garbage totes. Even a matter of fact, we even had some video here. Billy, I don't know if you were here for that, but I brought back a recycling tote and I brought back a garbage tote. Put my gloves on, let's get in there. So we even check the garbage totes too, to try to tell the people, hey, listen, recycling is very important. Let's make sure everything in this garbage can belongs. If it belongs in the recycling container, place it in there, because it's very important. Very important.
I imagine if we had, as an example of what we have currently, imagine if the United States participated at this level. We're talking massive change, right?
Right. Yep.
We're also talking about a group of people in our society who looks at kind of the responsible way of living. They want to talk about the oil problems and things like that. We have a garbage problem in the United States. And I don't think people are even paying attention to what happens with garbage, let alone recycling material. Can you talk in some regards to highlighting what happens to the trash truck and where it goes, where it drops things off, how long that process takes, and then also talk about the fact that those landfills have to relocate after a certain amount of time, right?
And John, you brought that perfect example. That's $6.52 $6.52 a ton. That is considered space. You are paying for space. So every time they have to purchase land or move a cell, that's why, the landfill, sooner or later, you're going to run out of room. Then where are you going to go?
And with that being said, we don't have a landfill active in the city of Northport right now, do we?
Correct. No, we don't. We do not.
Have we had one in the past?
Many years ago.
And where is that located?
30 years ago, off of Sumter.
Yeah. We won't talk about the exact location, but here's the beauty in that, though, is that there have been places built on top of landfills that are respectable and worthy because of the care and the processes that were in place back then. Okay. And things have gotten better today than they were 20 years ago. And because 20 years ago, I believe we were dumping all kinds of things in a landfill that we don't want to talk about today, including TVs and different things like that.
Correct.
What processes now do you think, Frank? I'm going to go your direction here for a second.
Okay.
Because the visionary side of things, you have been a key part of really directing our recycle and where it should go. What do you think we should focus on as a community in the next 5 to 10 years to really transition ourselves to be the leader that we are now and keep the leader status nationally that we have now?
Well, hiring the planner schedule. We're hiring a planner schedule will be our first one next year. That person is going to be dedicated to going through totes and making sure the people are doing the right thing. John, it's all about education. And right now it's, with we have renters and people coming in and out. We're a bedroom community. We have to make sure that those people understand what belongs in there and what does not belong in there. That's the first start. The second start, I went to see my daughter last month. She lives in New Jersey. This is huge. In New Jersey, they got rid of plastic bags. Okay. Every store you go to now, there's not a plastic bag there. So I went shopping with her, not knowing, and I was thinking there's going to be plastic bags there, and there wasn't. You have to bring your own bags. So that's a huge part here in Florida. I mean, it would affect everybody. If we just got rid of the plastic bags, that would be the first step, because that would definitely help us out in the recycling end, for sure. For sure. That would be a huge help.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that then, for the fact that every store that we have down here right now has their own grocery bags, and now it's, do you want paper or plastic? And most of us go plastic. But go ahead. Well, I saw that your face light up there for a minute.
It's funny because you brought the paper up. It's, John, they switched over to plastic back in the 60s because the paper bags, what was happening was they were taking down all the trees and they were using the paper. So paper bags were used back then. And to be environmentally friendly, they were like, listen, we got to stop taking the trees down. We have to change this. We have to do something different. So that's why the plastic bag came into effect. Well, the problem is now, if you do ask for paper there, all the paper companies out there that take trees down have to replace that tree. Things are totally different now. Totally different. So ask for paper instead of plastic.
I'll let you read that question, Billy. Go ahead.
William English asks, Frank, has the city contemplated the long-range plan, incineration, generation of power?
Boy, that's a great question. No, but what we are contemplating is we're going to go ahead and, commission has approved the transfer station here. It's a baby step, but commissioner has approved that, and we go to see them in September. So we're moving forward a transfer station. That's a good question about the power. I know they have it in Polk County. I know they have it in Lee County. That's a great thing to have. Right now, Northport, I don't think Northport's ever going to have something like that. Maybe in the future, down the road, way down the road. But right now, our biggest thing is getting a transfer station up here, keeping our trucks in town, stop having them drive 50 miles round trip, having 25 trips a day. I mean, the pounds of carbon monoxide, keeping it out, the trucks, that's what we need to do right now. So that's our plan. Our plan is hopefully to have a transfer station here with commissioner's approval within 5 years. That's what we're hoping.
So the transfer station is going to do what?
Transfer station right now, John, we have about 20 to 25 trucks that travel back and forth to Nokomis. After they get full or they collect items, they go there. A transfer station is going to be a place where they can drop in town. There's different types. There's dirty floor, clean floor. That would go into a chute. A chute would pack it into a trailer. A larger trailer would take 3 to 4 vehicles up there instead of having 3 to 4 vehicles going back and forth.
Okay.
That's transportation.
So there again, it's cost savings and wear and tear on vehicles, correct?
Oh, correct. Yes. And it is exactly what we did with the recycling. The recycling center, it's crazy. Looking at the numbers, we're getting about 4 recycle trucks to 1 trailer going back and forth to Sarasota. That's huge. That's huge what we did here.
So I want to go back to Bill's question, and you've got the fact that these other cities have gone to the incineration plant for a power plant, right?
They have, yep.
And I don't know that you know this answer because you're really focused on really one thing, and that's the recycling side of Northport, correct?
Correct.
So I've got to ask, just in a comparison situation, do you know if the places that have the incineration plants have a really good recycling plant, or are they not as well tuned to that as we are?
Yeah, I really can't say. I mean, I've talked to quite a few people, Lee County, Polk County. I mean, all I can tell you this much is that if we go to the landfill here, when we go to the landfill here, it's $48.34 a ton. When you go to Lee County, it's like $60 a ton. Polk County, I think, is like $80 a ton. So they charge you more, and the credits they're probably getting are very good. They probably get good credits for the burning the recycling. I don't how they do it, but Lee County does offer. If you go down there, they do offer a tour there. And that's something that people might want to check out. That's a free tour.
I think that would, to me, it would be an interesting comparison to see what the other counties have done with their recycling side of things, to see if they're capturing dollars as
Right.
at a higher level or at a level that we are
Right.
Per capita, because they may be taking advantage of one side and not taking advantage of the other because it's just more profit. I hate to use the word profit in trash. It's how it's designed.
John, the only thing is about a city, when it comes to a city and a county, you're going to collect so much more in a county where it might be worth it. When it comes to a city is not going to be as big. So a transfer station, I think, would be the best thing.
Awesome.
Yep.
So with that being said, your focus is really right now is the transfer station is the next best thing coming.
Right.
And we've already got data to prove that there's a benefit to that because of what we've done before in the past.
Correct.
And with the advancement of the city growth, how do you feel the education is being handled? Because we're vast, we're just so spread out. How do you feel that the education is being handled, and what are some of the things that you think that maybe we should look at, maybe to get people more engaged with public works?
Billy?
Well, I think we've got a pretty regular Facebook campaign as far as recycling goes, as far as public works goes. Here's the things that are available to you. There goes my light again. So we've got that going for us. We've got a lot of information on the website. We're at the newcomers days. We're at community events. One thing we can do, and we've done this a couple times since I've been here with Frank, and that's go out to HOAs, go out to the housing communities and things like this, and let them know these are the services we have here. Here's how you can help us. This is how you can help us help you. Things like that. So I think we have a pretty high level of education going on already. And some of it, like we've talked about in the past, is finding a way to engage them, to make the people that may know and just not care as much, maybe make them care a little more. And then, again, we keep repeating the messages. I don't know that we're necessarily hammering the plastic bags things just because, we want to beat people over the head with it. Some of it is, someone commented on one of our recent posts and asked why people don't get it. We have so many new residents coming in every month, and we do the newcomers days, 2 or 3 times a year, but that's one catch-all, and not all the new residents are going to come to those. So, we do constantly put out, just regular reminders, plastic bags don't go in recycling. These items don't belong in your garbage. Make sure this goes in this bin and not that bin. And that's primarily because of how many new residents, we're seeing come in on a regular basis.
So I'm gonna go back. I want to help answer that question so that you don't have to answer it the way I will. When I was a kid, we had the Indian on TV who stood by the waterways and looked down at the water and watched the trash on the side of the water and flowing down the river. And it was, pick up the trash, care about your community. And that was when things were a lot different, but yet they're still the same. Um, Today, I believe we have probably the same amount of trash being thrown out windows that we did back then. And it's all education. And it also comes down to sheer laziness of our communities. And I'll say that where you guys are public works, public figures, and you can't say it, it takes work to make a community beautiful. And if you're not willing, as citizens of where you live, to take care of the streets that you're on, and I've told this story to many people. Duncan Finley was the hospital CEO for Sarasota Memorial back in, gosh, I'm going to date 23 years ago. Never forgot Duncan Finley. The man was great for one move. One move made me remember him this amount of time. So when you watch a CEO of a hospital walk down the hallway, spot a piece of trash, watch workers walk past, watch visitors walk past, and then you see him bend over, pick up the piece of trash, and walk over and put it in the trash can, and never say one word. I never forgot it, and I never walked past another piece of trash at the hospital until we all realize that it's our responsibility to set the standard like Duncan Finley did for Sarasota Memorial. Nothing will ever change. We can talk the game, right. We can walk the walk, but are we willing to put the effort in to change? We have done such great things in the recycling side of things because of the participation that we have today. I've got a guy that's in my HOA right now. He talked about HOAs. He walks around and he puts all the trash cans back in the seniors' driveways. By the way, he's a senior. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So now I'm doing it. I'm walking around. But it's funny. We had one of the trash cans blew over. I went out and cleaned it up.
Wow.
You know, here's the thing. Until we all decide to be that Duncan Finley, things aren't going to be perfect. But we could all work to make it look much better, can't we?
Agree. Agree.
When the trash is being picked up, there's a few things I noticed because I was on vacation myself for a month and I had to apologize to Billy because I missed our last show, but I was up in Cuyahoga Falls and beautiful town. I'm not going to pick on it at all because they're doing a great job. They've got a recycling system that's not like ours, but they are picking up recycling. But one of the things I did notice is that when Northport trash people pick up trash and something goes wrong, I see them get out of their truck and try to clean it up. In Cuyahoga Falls, they left it on the ground. Well, I'm going to go back to Duncan Finley for a second.
Wow.
Do we have a bunch of Duncan Finleys on our trucks who really take pride in what they do?
Yes, sir.
What makes the difference? What sets the tone, Frank? What sets the tone for the Public Works Trash Division? What sets that tone?
Well, what sets the tone is if you live in this city, you work in the city, you have to be proud of this city. You have to make sure this city is clean at all times. Like myself, even when I was out in the truck 20 years ago, and I seen something that was not right, I just took care of it because when you work for a city that you live in, it's all about heart. That's what it's about. Just having heart and making sure the city looks clean at all times. And, myself and my supervisors, my superintendent, that's all we stress to the guys is, when you pick up a tote, it gets placed back exactly where it was and it's spotless. I want the street spotless every time we go through a day. When the day's finished, I want the route clean clean as possible. So it's huge. I mean, we have people coming through our beautiful city, and I don't want them thinking like, because I drive through other cities too, and I see what's going on out there, and I just don't want to be those other people. I want us to be the best of the best.
Billy, you got anything to add?
I will say to add on to what Frank said, we do have quite a few drivers. Several times over the last last month, we've gotten emails or calls from residents who said, oh, the garbage truck driver came through and this fell over and he took the time to get out and help pick it up. We had one who complimented our bulk pickup driver for picking up a bunch of furniture and stuff and showing such skill that he had I think he said like a thimble full of sawdust left behind. And if you've ever watched these guys operate, they take great pride in what they do. We had another one, and these guys they care. You can tell they care about the neighborhoods. We had a guy who noticed someone's pool was leaking. Yeah. And went and got the residents, to bring to their attention, hey, your pool is leaking. You're losing water.
Last month. Yeah. Yeah.
So we do have a great set of drivers that do really show pride, in their job, and not just in their job, but in their community.
They really care.
They look great.
They really care.
What's our turnover, Frank? What's our turnover within our public works division? I don't feel like we have a mass exodus out of public works.
Well, John, normally what happens here is they usually move to another department within the city. So they're not leaving the city. They always move to another department. So like road and drainage or operations. So, and we're fully staffed now. So, but people do move, but it just, they stay within the city.
So you're talking really about city retention.
Yep.
So there's right. A difference between leaving the job and city retention.
Yep.
Distinctly, there's
Correct.
A difference. So it's obviously a good place to work. It's a good environment to be in.
A great place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pride that goes into it. Chuck English, if you're listening out there, how about telling us, is there a lot of kudos that are out there for the way the city looks? There are a lot of people, and Chuck, I love Chuck. I have a couple of
great.
Now with him
Chuck's
all the
great.
time. And it's the fact that we have the Chucks of the world who are really coming out and saying things and really maybe even driving an idea down the road in the future. The incinerator, it has to be talked about today to have the idea 10, 15 years out.
Yeah.
And because, Frank,
yep.
Is it true that recycling is at a better point today than it was 15 years ago?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
What's
I wanted to go back to the recycling. When you burn some of the recycling, though, you have to be careful with that because of what goes up in the air, in the environment. Plastics and some aluminums, they're dangerous going up there. So burning things is, you're better off, bringing it to a recycling center, having it back on the shelf in 3 months. That's the way we should be doing it. But go ahead, John. I'm sorry. Cut you off.
No. You're fine. Here's the thing. If ideas aren't part of our future, look where we'd have been if we'd have sat back and said we're not doing anything for the next 15 years about recycling. Oh. That's half $500,000 that's now in the city of Northport's budget that's spent and paid by taxpayers. And here's the funny thing: we're paying as consumers. We're already paying for the product. Why would we want to pay again, tax dollar wise, to have it all hauled away if we could recycle it and pay ourselves back as consumers?
There you go.
So it's really just a mindset change on realizing that if you want to keep your money that you earn every day in your wallet, go buy what you want to buy, but recycle it when you can and recycle it the right way. And don't let our tax rate go up based on pure laziness. Because we're the only city on this coast, pretty much, that gives you an opportunity to put those tax dollars back to work and not take it out of your wallet.
And that's true, John. A lot of we are the pretty much out of all the cities here in Sarasota County, we are the cheapest rate. We have the cheapest solid waste rate.
What's that mean when you talk to other cities and
It's just
counties?
incredible. I mean, we have solid waste managers meetings with all the managers here within the county, and some of the rates. There's one rate that's over $290, and the other one's $272, and I just don't get it. I'm looking to. I live in the city. I care about how much I pay for my assessment each year, so I care. I just don't. I don't know what they're thinking. I couldn't tell you unless I saw their numbers. That's the only way I'd be able to tell you. But John, I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
That's all right. Billy, got anything to add?
I just add on to what we're talking about with the rebate and stuff, and so people understand. If we talk about, well, solid waste is going to receive 400,000, or if it's 100,000 or whatever it is, and everybody goes, well, where's my check? The thing is that the cost, like Frank spoke about earlier, the cost to dump just general garbage at the landfill is going to continue to go up, and especially as they need to expand and make room for more garbage, they're going to have to charge more, and it keeps going up. And getting a $400,000 rebate check for the year is just a way we can kind of help offset a little bit of that. And, it's our recycling center plays a huge part in that, keeping all the trucks in town, helps keep fuel costs down. We're bringing the cleanest material possible there to get the biggest rebate we can possibly get there. And as I said before, they've told us Northport brings the cleanest material in the area. It speaks to the efforts of our staff down at the recycling center, who's doing a great job sorting and packing out the trailer to maximize load. So we're running that as few times as possible, which again reduces our fuel footprint. And I think it all speaks to Frank's vision. He came to them a while back and said, hey, I need a transfer station in town. And they said, prove it's going to work. So he did. He proved it's going to work in the recycling center. And now they're listening, and maybe the solid waste transfer station works, and we can get that through and keep all of our trucks in town, which again, we're reducing carbon footprint, and we can see success in the solid waste in general program like we have with recycling.
And I'm going to throw some numbers at you, or some questions at you based on a return on a number here, Frank. What's a trash truck run today?
400,000.
How about that number? Did we just talk about 400,000?
We did.
So are you telling me that our recycling program can pay for a new trash truck?
Yes, sir.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
Yep.
Not spread out over how many? These and let's see. I'll let you say that, Billy. Go ahead.
Oh, let's see. From Mr.
English.
English, I'll give you a simple answer, John. Both these gentlemen are visionary leaders with integrity, and their teams are the backbone of the city. Even though they piss me off every once in a while, they're having their.
They have their stick.
Yep.
And here's the thing. You can never move forward without pissing somebody off. That's a fact. But as long as we keep the vision in mind, which is moving forward and keeping Northport the best it can be, there's nobody that can argue the point. There's always different ways, but it's not necessarily the easiest and the best way for the city at the moment. And I don't even know the issues that he's talking about, but to keep everyone happy within a city is the most difficult thing you'll ever do.
Sure.
Because there's not 10 people in this city that half of them know exactly what recycling is. So they can't even hold a conversation. The nice thing is the more that we all talk about the issues at hand, the more that we talk about recycling and why these numbers are important, because the transfer station that was built, and I know this is a pride thing for you, Frank.
Right?
Are we still paying for that?
Oh no, I got paid off in the first year, first 6 months.
Once again, we're talking first year numbers again. Okay.
Yeah, that was back in 19.
Yeah, way back in 19, many years ago.
Feels like it's been a decade since then.
Yeah, so I think the point keeps getting proven that things are being paid for that advances our city, and it's costing the taxpayers no money. And yet the taxpayers probably aren't participating fully at about a 30% number. Imagine if we all got busy and went through our trash every single day and did our recycling the right way. Holy cow, could we buy a fleet of trucks every year?
Just imagine, the sky's the limit.
Yes.
Yep.
And we're set up right now for success if we could get people to play the game. And the game, ironically, is about their own wallet.
Hey, John, let me, if you don't mind me, just real quick, just to tell you, we collect 31,000 tons of garbage, and we collect 8,000 tons of residential recycling, traditional recycling right now. So think about that. If we were to just switch those two numbers around, just imagine what would it be like?
The amount of money that we're talking puts us on national news. Because I got to tell you, there are cities right now that are asking, what are we doing?
Correct.
If we just doubled our number, the cities would be knocking at our door going, what did you just do?
Right.
And it comes right down to really one simple formula. Get involved, learn what the recycling program is, and stick to the program. If everybody did that, let's take the renters out. Let's take the seasonal people out. If our residents all just got together and said, nope, we're doing it 100%. We're kicking it up a notch. We're going to see what this is all about, and we're going to see the funding that happens.
Man.
That changes the city.
That's huge. Yep.
And I'm watching your facial expression, Frank. People on the radio can't see it, but imagine a 3-year-old getting a sucker and finding out that there's actually more candy inside once they get to the middle. That's the feeling that Frank has right now.
Yeah.
Is that it's amazing to watch his face talk about numbers, talk about pride. Not that you're not, Billy, but when your passion and your vision is coming true, that's what I see out of Frank. That's why I love having you on the show, is because it's the drive that you have to make this program better.
And John, thank you. 22 years. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, what can I do to make this city better? For the last 22 years, I've been doing that every time I wake up. And anything I could think of, always thinking, ideas, vision, trying to come up with something. So that's it. But, hopefully, like you were saying, I think we're going to start going more towards the people right to their toe. I think that's what we have to start doing now. We do a great job with promoting the recycling and making sure people are doing the right thing. But now I think it's time for us to get real tough and get out there and start looking inside totes and educating the person right at their own home.
How hard is it to get bigger containers if you need them?
Billy?
Just give us a call. It's call Public Works Customer Service, 941-240-8050. If you got a small container, if you got the medium container, if you've got the large container and you've got too much recycling, give us a call and say, hey, I need an extra recycling container. As we've talked about in the past, recycling is one of the very few things in the city that brings money back to the city. So anything we can do to boost those numbers. If somebody's got a full blue bin, we don't want them taking recycling material and throwing it in the garbage can. So we'll gladly deliver them an extra recycling tote. And I've had people that I talked to that said, hey, I got too much. What do I do? Okay, call us, get a new container. And they called and scheduled it that day. Same thing with cardboard. We got a lot of new residents. If you're moving in, you've got a bunch of moving boxes, a bunch of cardboard boxes, not going to fit in your tote, more than likely. Give us a call. We'll collect that for free. That doesn't count as your full collection.
Can you talk a little bit about, you've got the Northport Report app, but is there a recycling app?
We do have the Recycle Coach app. So it's free to download, free to use. You go in, you put in your address. You can sign up for push notifications for your collection reminders. If you're not sure what week it is, if it's tan week, this week it's tan week. So make sure you're putting out your tan lids. It'll give you can set up for 24, 48 hours, a week in advance. I don't know why you do a week in advance, but maybe that's you. You can sign up for notifications there. It'll remind you which tote goes out, when to have it out by, things like that. When we have events like the hazardous waste event that's coming up on August 6th, it'll send out reminders. We can send out push notifications for that. Holidays, if your collection is going to be delayed because, this year July 4th came on Monday, so everybody was delayed. If it comes in the middle of the week, only a couple people are delayed, only a couple areas. They can get notifications. Hey, your collection's different this week. Normally it's Wednesday, now it's Thursday, things like that. And then there's a helpful where does this go tool on there as well. So you can hit the search bar, say you've got styrofoam, lunch container you brought home from the restaurant. Where does this go? You put it in there, it's going to tell you put it in your garbage because we don't take styrofoam. So, things like that, different kind of plastic materials and things like that, you can search. It'll tell you what to do with tires and things like that, which we, again, don't accept. You can find local tire shops might take them. But things like that, if you got materials you're not sure of, you can put it in there and search it, and it'll give you the heads up. And if you see something, you search something, it's not clear, you can reach out to us, call customer service, shoot an email to customer service, and we'll see if we can get it corrected or cleared up in the app for sure.
So I'm gonna ask this question, and I know that Frank's gonna jump all over it. We talked about the $400,000 truck.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those do we own?
We own 80 pieces of equipment, and 60 of them range from a pickup truck to a garbage truck. So I would say about 40 of them.
So that's one side of things. Then we have the transfer station.
Yep.
How much was that?
The transfer station that we back in 19.
Yep.
327,000.
Paid for, done, buy, right?
Yep.
So now we're talking about another transfer station for
garbage and recycling and yard waste for everything in the here.
Everything.
Yep, everything. So
when that happens, that's another cost occurrence of
right. Yeah, there's going to be a cost, of course, of the transfer station being built, but then you have to realize less trucks being purchased, less men to collect what's out here. So things start playing. Now we're starting to get into good things.
And so it's all management. It's all really a projected management style right now, with a working plan that you have got in place that works, and that reaps rewards as you complete the next phase, right?
Correct.
And all of those things being said is that trucks aren't going down on value. Oil, gas, we all know none of those things are going down.
Right. They're
going up. Maintenance parts, anybody that has listened to the news lately, a car engine is was $4,500 to get rebuilt pre-COVID. Now it's $9,500 to get it rebuilt.
Yeah.
Now think about that. We're talking about not a city, not we're talking non-government. And anytime that you attach the word government to a bill, I don't know why, but it always goes up. So if we just keep it real, I don't call this show Real Talk because I don't want to talk real. I really want to talk about real things, and everything that we're talking about matters to a budget handled within Public Works, which ultimately gets turned back in to City Hall, and it's gone over by our commissioners and our city manager, who are all doing a phenomenal job to keep our tax rate down. This is the one area that we can all participate as a city and really drive costs down. And you guys are working hard to do that within. And I think that's the appreciation factor that is being missed, is that this is all happening because of the action within the department. To have the vision, yeah, you put it out there on the commissioners, and I'll thank them for saying yes. But I'm not going to thank them for having the idea and the fortitude to say, this is what we need to do. I need to get with Frank. You guys came up with this plan. You own this.
John, you have to remember, all they had to say was no, and then everything was dead in the water. So
right.
I give them kudos for what they did. So
I know I'm not taking credit away. What I'm saying is there's some innovative thinking that happens that they grabbed a hold of because they saw the vision, and the presentation of what you guys did is really what drove that.
And the thing about this commission too, our commissioners here, if you can prove it to them, that's what you need to do. You need to prove it to them first. You prove it to them, they'll go with you. That's it. It's all about proof.
And so if as a city, if we did what we've talked about this in the past, this isn't a new conversation for all three of us, and even Chuck, he's all over this stuff.
Yep.
He wants this city, and like other citizens, they want these things to get better. Just got my attention, Frank. Where and how big is the transfer station going to be?
Well, we're not even there yet, so that'll be maybe next year's little meeting we have here, another radio show. But
all right,
we're still in the early stages. We're buying additional property, and we're set to go speak hopefully with the commission on September 6th, see what kind of direction they'd like to go. Then next year we'll be into that question. So right now,
no, that's great. It was a great question, and I appreciate Chuck doing that because you've thrown that out there, and really it's important. Yeah, he looks forward to coffee chat. So I there's one thing about Chuck, he'll drink you and talk you to death. How about that, Mr. Coffee Man? It is the beauty, though, of being in such a tight-knit community where even people like Chuck, they're retired, and yet they're extremely active within, and they're trying to give ideas, trying to give thoughts, trying to give direction. You guys are really doing that innovative thinking within the department. I think that's why we don't have turnover, and it is because people are appreciated for, one, their dedication, but two, they're outside the box thinking to keep the departments all moving forward and keep Northport as a focal point of the upward momentum that we have. Anything that you'd like to add, Billy?
Just real quick before we have to go, remember Saturday, August 6th, hazardous waste event. We'll be out there provided there's no lightning or tropical storms crop up 3 days before, like the June 4th event that never happened.
Well, it is August.
It is August 6th. We understand, we're in the middle of tropic season and anything is possible, but at this rate, knock on wood, things are looking good. We should be out there August 6th, 8 to 12, Public Works campus, not City Hall, Public Works off of West Price, 1850 West Price Boulevard. Bring your hazardous waste, chemicals, paints, tires, medicines, needles, everything like that. We'll be happy to collect.
Yeah, and thank goodness you're just off of Toledo Blade, so it's a quick run for me. How about that? So, everybody says we never get anything on this side of town. We have one of the best departments this side of town, and that's Public Works. They're right there off of Price. So if you know where Beef or not Beef O'Brady's, I was going to screw that one up because that's old school. That was way back, right? So Public Works Department is right where Wings and Rings, Toledo Blade and Price, Publix, right there, Toledo Blade and Price. If you just go down Price towards City Hall, it's really on your right-hand side, and you can't miss it. It's the light before Chamberlain. And so you've got it made. It's a quick, easy run. Neighborhoods are easy to get to in that area. Bring everything over and drop it off. This is John Rawlings with WKDW Radio 97.5 saying thanks. Have a great night and be safe getting home. Thanks.